I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need to excuse Gar's absence. I move that we excuse Gar Hill from tonight's meeting.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No.
Okay. I'd ask for somebody to make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I move that we adopt tonight's agenda.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And would ask for a motion to approve the June 21st, 2021 minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from the June 21st, 2021 meeting.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to public comment. Kathy Raybon.
I'm a part of a prayer group that meets every Monday, and we pray for all of you by name, so it's nice that you have your name mixed up so we know who you are. So last month, you implied that the Cleon School District wouldn't adopt critical race theory. Is that correct? So I'm wondering what that really means. If the state requires that all the educators attend the training session, what is your plan to keep it out of the classrooms of those teachers who have that same ideology? I mean, usually they have to put posters up. Will that be allowed for critical race theory in the classrooms?
I'm not sure what you mean by posters.
Well, you know, educational materials go on the bulletin board, hangs up. Usually it's about what they're required to teach. So if they do that, then is it also going to be allowed to put out posters to not judge by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character? I mean, how are you going to, what's the plan, what's the agenda to control all that? Because if you're saying that you're not going to adopt it, then there has to be an agenda to keep it from getting into the classroom. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have adopted curriculum that the school board ultimately adopts all of the curriculum that we use in our school district.
Could you repeat that?
We have adopted curriculum that the school board uses, that the school board adopts that we use in our classroom.
And it doesn't have that in it?
We don't do poster adoptions in our,
So is the curriculum for the school year open to the public? Can we?
it's the Common Core Standards that are located on the OSPI website. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Carol Tomasic. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Tomasic, like I've been a long resident of Cleon. Love this place. I've worked here. I worked up at Roslyn at Busy Buddies for a long time. It was a daycare and preschool and everything. I've taught school. I've taught kids. I've been around kids forever. And just real concerned on the CRT. I know last time you said you weren't adopting it, but weren't really sure, and then you said you would look at the agenda and put it aside. So I'm real concerned. I'm also concerned about the 1619 project. Do you have any comment on that?
We don't have, critical race theory we stated at the last board
No, that
meeting. It's on our minutes.
1619 project is something totally different.
We have not engaged in any conversation
You
about
don't know anything
1619.
about that? You're not going to teach that?
No.
I don't know what it is.
You don't know it's 1619 project? It doesn't start with our forefathers. It starts when the slaves came over. That's what the 16, I can't believe you don't know anything about it. Okay.
Well, we know about
We
it.
know about it,
Not
but
in
it's
our
not a
school,
curriculum
not
that we
in our
have
school.
or plan to have.
Okay, so you don't plan to teach that. That's good. Okay, also I see we're going to go over the budget tonight. So you're not adopting anything in the budget that pertains to the 1619 or the CRT project? There'll be nothing in the budget for that?
No.
And can we get a copy of the budget? when it's produced.
It'll be on public.
It's all public
Okay.
information.
Well, I thank you for that. I love this community, and I love our country, and I love kids. And I just hope to see the best for them. They're not born with a racial hate, and they're not born with oppression in their minds, and they're not born with hate. So to put that in their minds from anybody, from any teacher, would be wrong. I wondered also what you would consider about putting cameras in the classroom.
We haven't engaged in conversation about
Could you?
cameras.
Could you put that on your agenda? The police now have cameras on them so that they adopt appropriately on the job, and we would like to know what our kids are being taught. Okay? Thank you.
Erin Fancher.
Hello. Mary Fauché, but it's...
Oh, it looks like an M, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay, it's okay. I came last month that we had a meeting and was, what I remember hearing from the critical race there, that they weren't going to adopt it, but there was also discussion about equity training or equality training, and I think maybe that needs to be discussed separate from the actual. We're all here because we love this area, and we're your supporters, and I feel like we can work together. Everybody's concerned, and if there's anything that I can do, if I can be on a committee, if I can be, you can question me, whatever, you know, have me read something so that I can give you my input as just a member of our community, as a grandparent that's raising a child in this school. Use us, use me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
What is equality training?
We've been doing equity and inclusionary practices. So inclusionary practices is every student, regardless of where they come from, have a right to be in our classrooms and not be discluded from the classroom environment.
Okay. Moving on, public hearing, Elizabeth.
Okay, so it's budget time. I have a short presentation for the budget, and then we'll be adopting a resolution to adopt the budget after I finish the presentation.
Sandy, can you give me access to show the presentation?
Yes, it's actually great because somehow we also turned off the audio and everything else.
So if you can join audio.
Okay, we do have audio.
She's doing a presentation.
Can I hear, does the audio work now? We're hoping. Just testing the audio. Carla Shoes, could you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if the audio is working for you?
Just testing the audio. Relations, could you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if the audio is good?
Okay, so you want to take over the buttons? And I'm going to give you presentations. Her audio wasn't connected. Somehow we missed that.
You do need audio.
Okay, they're saying it works, so we're good there. And now we need to make sure that we can see.
Let me go back and listen. Go ahead and start talking.
One second.
Do we have any good music?
Pause for technical difficulties. Michelle, can you screen share?
Oh, I
can now, thank you.
Sorry, what?
All right.
Thank you for your patience.
Hold on, Elizabeth, while I try to move this out of the way.
We're good.
Slideshow. From the beginning. Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, this is just going to be an overview of the budget. The actual budget is, I think, 214 pages long. So this is a Reader's Digest version for you. So tonight we're going to go over the enrollment, revenues, expenditures, and fund balance. Right now, our enrollment, have projected for next year 867 for enrollment. This year we ended at 844.86. So I have bumped it up a little bit because next year we have a new transitional kindergarten and a TKK split class. So we have 2 more classes of elementary students coming in. So, and then I was very conservative with the projections for the next 3 years. I did just a straight roll-up of our enrollment that we have right now. And so if these numbers change, if we get more students, right now we'll just be funded on this number from OSPI. If we get more students, then in January, they'll make the adjustment and we'll get the back enrollment apportionment for those. So I just wanted to be a little more conservative this year, because last year I went too high. So I think this should be more right in line with where we're going to be. So this is just a comparison of last year's budget compared to this year's budget and where we're at. We're starting with a much larger fund balance this next year, but our expenditures are actually going to be a lot more also. So we're just going to end up projected about 300,000 more than this year. For general fund revenues, this is just a breakout of where we get our funding from. 54% of our funding comes from the state apportionment. We also have our local taxes, tax collection, which is in there. We have our other local non-tax fines and fees and donations and grants. And, we also have federal funds. So this year we received ESSER funds, which are also known as CARES Act money. But we received ESSER $1. We also received CARES Act money from Kittitas County, about $350,000 from them. So we also have ESSER 2 funds and ESSER 3 funds that we have access to, but it's a reimbursable, so we have to spend the money first before we can claim that money and get reimbursed for it. General fund expenditures, about 81% of our general fund expenditures is salaries and benefits. And then we have supplies, materials, and purchase services, which are a little higher this year. We have like Edgenuity, some of our online services. We also have some additional purchase services for like special ed, extra services that some of our kiddos have needed this year. And then we go on to our capital projects fund. I'm budgeting $175,000 for technology equipment, so for new devices, things like that. $100,000 is for instructional technology. So we have an instructional technology coach or teacher, which we can take this $100,000 and transfer it back to the general fund to cover that salary if we need to. And then our building projects for the next coming year, I put $175,000 for high school flooring. I budgeted $600,000 for the high school HVAC system. And you know, we went out to bid for it. It was considerably higher than what it should have been. So we're hoping by going out maybe November for another RFQ that we can get a lower bid this year. But I went ahead and did the budget for $600,000
in the event that we can't, because it's going to have to be replaced. I also put in $500,000 for instructional facility remodel. So,
Yeah, so that's when we think about where we are with space right now and our 2 TKs that we're bringing on board and our kindergarten enrollment, we're getting pretty heavy at the elementary school, and the middle school is hard to fit anybody because our numbers at the middle school are large. So it's really thinking about, can we remodel some of the existing space that we have to accommodate, which could include the laundry facility that we've long talked about, or CTE and/or thinking about our early childhood. So that'll be part of our board retreat information that we will want to dig into a little bit. And Ryan will be here to talk about levy projection and where we are in feasibility study, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. So.
And this is just a breakdown of our revenues and our expenditures for the capital projects, for our local taxes, and then interest that we get on those coming into the capital projects fund. And we have the debt service fund, which is basically, it's just a pass-through fund. So we will transfer funds from our transportation vehicle fund to pay the bus loans 1 and 2. Now, last meeting, I had this brilliant idea to pay out those bus loans early when we sell the property. I contacted the state and they said, it won't do you any good because you still have to pay the interest. So we're just going to continue paying them off. I think we have 5 more years, so we're just going to go ahead and slowly pay them off. Transportation vehicle fund, beginning fund balance $72,000. Then we'll pay the revenues that come in is depreciation from the state on the buses that we have. I budgeted $20,000 for in case an engine blows up or some major repair for a bus. And then we'll transfer out $76,000 for those bus loans, which would leave us $49,000 in the transportation vehicle fund. The ASB, it's all student driven, so beginning fund balance $153,699. The projected revenues from the school ASBs and projected expenditures would leave us then with $149,210 in ASB. So this is a budget summary for all of our funds, and it's our revenues, expenditures, and then our excess. So this year you can see that our expenditures are going to be $912,737 more than our revenues. So that's what brings our fund balance down considerably from where it is right now. So these are the ending fund balances that we're projecting for all of the funds. And then we go to our 4-year forecast, which is required by the state now. And this is kind of our best guess as to the next 4 years. It has the 21-22, which I just went over. I increased revenues, expenditures by the OSPI projected their estimate. So it will be, I believe it's 2.2% for expenditures. So increase that over the 4 years. You can see by the end of the 4th year, we're at $299,629 for the fund balance. This is the projection. I can tell you right now, everything is in the general fund. We have ESSER dollars that we can use, but the guidelines are very strict on what we can use them for. So some of these expenditures that we have right now that are in the general fund, we will be able to transfer ESSER funds to cover some of those. So
Is that considered then on the revenue side?
No.
on the revenue side, I actually did put in our ESSER 2 funds for this year, the $643,000. I also built that into the expenditures so that we could spend it, so we have the capacity to spend it. So that's part of why the expenditures are higher also, is because I had to build that capacity. We also this year, we are adding like I said, the transitional kindergarten class, the TKK split. So there's 2 new teachers. Each class will have a para, so it's 2 new paras. We have an assistant principal at the elementary level now. We're going to have to probably hire an interventionist for our special ed department, up 0.6 next year. I also built in the capacity in the event we have to put a 4th kindergarten class in. I built an extra teacher in because depending on our numbers, we may have to add a 4th class. So those are some of the increase in the expenditures that we have. And this is just a comparison from what we budgeted last year compared to what we're budgeting for the next 4 years.
I think COVID has distracted the reality that we were facing 2 years ago with budgets. And the state is still not amply funding public schools. The McCleary Act was at one point in time and the money got dispersed, but it wasn't a substantial impact. And we're seeing that across the state of Washington, that COVID distracted everyone. We've got CARES and ESSERS with some pretty strict guidelines on how to use the funding, with strings attached to it, that it's not countable income for 4 years, because we don't know what's going to happen in 22, 23.
And we also cannot use it for salaries unless it's directly related to COVID kind of expenditure. And there we go. In our 4-year forecast also, some of the unknowns that we have, which is why I built in a little extra capacity, is our instructional, social, and emotional needs for our students for a full face-to-face reopening. We don't know exactly what's going to be needed when we're actually back in the building. And also the outcome of our SERIA negotiations. We just started negotiations, so we don't know yet what that's going to be. And that is the presentation. So I have a resolution that you'll see. I'm recommending this is for the 4-year projection. This is the 21-22 budget. This is the 4-year projection for the budget and the 4-year enrollment projection. General fund expenditures at $14,695,330. Capital projects fund $1,550,000. Transportation vehicle funds $96,000. Debt service fund $76,000. And the ASB $116,275. So I would recommend the approval of this resolution to approve the budget, unless you have questions.
What's the resolution number?
Well,
It's 21-7-1, correct?
it is what?
21.
21.
Action items, resolution 21-7.
Is there? Okay.
Okay,
All right,
sorry.
I think that we adopt the resolution 21-7-1 for the 21-22 budget for next school year.
I second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, nice job. I know that took a lot of work to put together.
Thank you.
Being conservative about our fiscal needs of the future. It's hard to know where we are after COVID, so I
It is.
appreciate all the hard work that you put into that. And
Thank you.
I know it's stressful. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. So, if there are no other questions, Susie?
There are no questions.
All right. So, next item. Shoemaker Foundation donation. I'm asking that you guys approve this donation. It's a $4,000 donation that they gave to us to purchase cross-country ski equipment for the elementary.
Nice.
It's got to get snow.
Let's not rush that.
I move that we approve the Shoemaker Foundation donation.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item is Authorized Signer. So I would request that we can add Christina Pinnell to, as a signer on our Umpqua account. She's our new payroll person, so that she can sign our revolving fund checks.
I move that we approve Christina Pinnell as an authorized signer of the Umpqua bank accounts. Second. All in favor?
All right, I'm done. So I was provided the opportunity to participate in a leadership conference. There's a handful of us in Washington, the superintendents that were selected, so I'm really honored to be a part of the committee that's going to be really thinking about how we engage with community partners and school districts. So they have provided us with a full scholarship to participate in the leadership conference. So Thursday of November 11th is a non-school.
Yes, we can, together.
So that's on here.
Okay. So our only cost is the airfare, correct?
Yeah, everything's taken care of.
Okay. Great opportunity.
I move that we approve the out-of-state travel for the county member superintendents.
I second it. Motion and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. On to the consent agenda. Personnel.
We've had a lot of movement. So Carissa is resigning from her position at the high school and moved to another position. And Barbara has also resigned her position and has taken a position over on the west side. Annette Backerson has officially, I think she retired officially, right, Becky, from her position. Steve Casello and his family have moved, so we had Steve's resignation and Ruth's position. We also have been busy with a lot of hires. We have hired Haley Bator, one of our own alumni, as the new athletic director. Carol has joined our team from the west side as the new elementary administrative assistant. We've got almost an entire first grade team. We have Jennifer McDonald, who's joined us, also from the west side, and Kelly Cole. Ashley's coming to us from, I believe she is coming from Ellensburg, and our new second grade teacher. We have a couple high school positions. We introduced a couple weeks ago a new math teacher. We have Joshua joining us. He is in Ellensburg for high school science. Jennifer Lewis and Jordan Stauffer are both joining our paraeducator team. We've had some other movement. Rita's taking on transitional K. Nikki is joining her with the transitional K split. As our numbers with transitional K and K continue to grow, that might change a little bit. And then Cheryl Singer will be taking the position of CTE and PE health at the high school. And so lots of movements.
The fiscal.
The Elizabeth meeting. Okay, our general fund, our fund balance is $3,634,654.40. Capital projects, we have $2,968,846.52. Our debt service fund, we have $18,506.70. ASB is $161,690.49. Transportation vehicle fund is $72,170.74. Then we have our AP for the month is $2,016,011.75. And the reason it's so large is because it includes last month's payroll and this month's. And I think that's it.
Do we approve the consent agenda in total? So I would look for a motion for that.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second it. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Then, moving on to superintendent's report.
Yeah. So COVID update and information, I was really hoping to be able to say that we're done with COVID forever, but it continues to evolve, as you know. Our numbers across the country are continuing to rise a little bit with the Delta variant. So we are continuing to meet with Dr. Larson weekly. I have expressed our desire as a community and a school board for all of our students to come back en masse. That is still our desire, and we're going to continue to work with Dr. Larson as things continue to progress or change, and that evolves all the time. So that is still our desire. We'll invite him in if we need to, if you feel like it's helpful. At this time, I think it's still a little too early to know where things are going to go with numbers. But that is, again, what we're working hard for, is having all of our students come back here en masse. So that's the only information I have right now. There's been rumors about the governor coming out with school mandates. So I have not heard anything, but I think it would be important for the governor to also hear from our community members about how they feel. I think that would be important in the governor's decision. When the governor makes a decision, it's kind of out of the school board or local control. So I will let you know more information when I find out. I am working continuously with our local superintendents group here in Kittitas County. And like Elizabeth said in the budget report, it's been with strong support from our local legislators financially and politically to help support our schools. So we continue to work together as a collective team here of superintendents in Kittitas. I think that's unique from other areas. So I'm appreciative of my colleagues' support as we navigate yet round 3, year 20. I know. Board retreat, I want to review that a little bit. We set our date. We do have Monday, I think I have the calendar in front of me, the 16th. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
I wonder, because here's our agenda. So right now, the time frame we have set for that is 4 to 7. I wonder if we want to extend that at all, because I feel like we kind of always run over when we ask lots of questions, which are good questions. On the agenda, we do have Piper Sandler, Ryan Swanson joining us, and he's giving us kind of an overview of levy. I also reached out to OSPI. We are a year ahead. We don't qualify for grant support for the feasibility study for another year. I think it's important when we think about the plat maps and the growth that's anticipated for our area to get ahead of that a little bit. So I'm working with the state to see if we could in any way petition to get that feasibility study started a year early. And it's not a lot of money, but money's money, so it's about $14,000 for the feasibility study. So if we could get OSPI to support that, that would be helpful.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? I must have missed it at the last meeting. Feasibility about what?
So our growth in the area, so when
good.
we think
Okay.
about levies, and then we think about, maintaining operational levies,
Got it.
and then we also think about future forecasting.
Okay.
So on the retreat agenda, I'll have a little bit of an update on feasibility, where we are with that. And then Ryan Swanson will be joining us. Elizabeth and I are meeting with him this week, I think, to kind of go over what he has put together for the board. We also have our strategic plan. So as a board, how do we think about where we've been and where we're going with our strategic plan and what our priorities will be digging in this year with all of our work. So we really need to kind of think about how to make some progress toward our priorities and how we measure that accountability to our progress on the strategic plan. And then we talked about, as a board, looking at roles, so thinking differently about some shared roles for next year. So that's our agenda. So do we want to keep it at 4 to 7, or do we feel like we just want to add another hour, do a working dinner, ahead and plow through?
I think we need to add another hour. We always end up adding another hour anyway. We might as well start that way.
Is it better to start a bit early in, 3 to 7, or 4 to 8?
I'm okay with either, but I wonder, Deanna, is that a work day,
It's
full
not,
work day
it's
for you?
not, so I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
3 to 7, do we want to,
Or 4 to 8.
for 4 to 8, rock, paper, scissors?
I'd rather do 3 to 7 and a little fresher.
After being at work all day long, I know.
8 o'clock is,
Usually I'm in bed by 9, so.
I'm brain dead.
Yes, 3 to 7.
3 to 7?
Let's go 3 to
Okay,
7.
3 to 7. Then I will update that and send it out to a meeting invitation.
So our meetings in August are that retreat on August 16th and then the board meeting on the 23rd, correct?
I'm going to check right now.
We did away with the 9th, I think.
I'm pulling it up right now. We have the 16th and the 23rd.
Great.
So we'll make that adjustment, 3 to 7. I think we'll be able to meet at the district office. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And if we can make that change on the website as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, we're busy with a lot of professional development over the summer. Really excited about that. Doing a lot of like standards alignment and really looking at our curriculum and materials and aligning it to the standards and continuing to look at that. So, okay.
Okay. Any board comments?
I just have one item, just kind of a follow-up. Has there been any movement or discussion more about the impact fee issue for developers in the area?
No, Elizabeth and I met with Lucy a couple months ago.
Yeah, we have another meeting.
And then we
Tomorrow.
have,
Tomorrow?
yeah, well, we have 447 North, or, right,
Which
yeah,
is-
we have
And
that
also-
tomorroh. Is
yes.
that the one you're referring to?
Well,
Impact,
both of
or
them,
all
actually.
of them?
All
Or-
of them, yeah.
Yeah. So we met with Lucy about where we are with kind of all of the projects.
Okay.
And then tomorrow, Elizabeth and I will meet with 47 North.
Thank you.
And so I'll let you know where we are with that group. I do know the mayor has popped in to meet with us a couple times about the other project and where we stand with that, because they're predicting. Yes, Elizabeth?
Yeah,
Raise your
good.
hand.
Just another update on the sale of the bus
Elizabeth,
garage.
will you please
Yeah.
go first? Sorry.
I forgot this in
Thank
my
you.
financial. The sale of the bus garage is kind of an update on where we're at. So at the last meeting, I let you know that we had an open contract from 1939 that needed to be resolved. So our council has filed the complaint in Kittitas County Superior Court, so that now it's moving forward. Now it's just kind of a wait and see what happens, but we are still moving forward. We just don't know exactly how long it might take. So that's where we're at.
You have an extension to the middle of September, though.
To
correct?
September 15th right now. Yep.
Okay. Anything else? No. It's exciting to see growth in the kindergarten classes and to see very qualified people coming on board. Finally, an assistant principal, yay. So,
Matt's probably just jumping up and down.
Matt's had a long year.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
really doing the best for our kids.
Yeah.
Thank you. If there aren't any other comments, I would move for adjournment. I make a motion that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
I second it.